Hello, Nasdaq followers, and welcome to a very special edition of Nasdaq Spotlight. I'm your host, Leon Alfaro, and joining me throughout the month of November are clients of Acción Opportunity Fund, the nation's leading nonprofit microfinance organization. Joining me today is CEO and founder of Mosaic Global Transportation, Maurice Brewster. Maurice, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Can you start by telling us a little bit more about the origin story and what the impetus was to start Mosaic Global Transportation?
Sure. We started almost 19 years ago. It was a journey that was Father's Day. My wife took me to an antique car show for Father's Day, and I saw this beautiful white Rolls-Royce, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I said, I think we can take this car and do something special in the limousine and ground transportation business by doing weddings with specialty cars, vintage cars. And from there, we launched a company called Rolls-Royce Limousine Service, and we called ourselves Rolls-Royce Limousine Service because we had a vintage Rolls-Royce. We ended up growing it to the largest fleet of vintage Rolls-Royces in the country, up to 13. But that was the impetus. That's how we started the business. And we ended up growing it and growing it and growing it to where we are today. But we shifted our model in 2004 to be a more traditional style limousine and ground transportation company, offering your garden variety Lincoln Town cars and stretch limousines and SUVs because we were enticed by a local hotel in Palo Alto where they asked us, would you be interested in handling our corporate customers? And I said, of course. And I said, but do you think they'd be interested in a Rolls Royce? And they said, no. You've got to buy regular cars. And I said, but that's not what I do. I'm a specialty car entrepreneur. And they showed me how much money they were sending to their local limousine company in the area. And the next day I bought cars. My mom didn't raise no fool. So we bought the traditional cars, and we haven't looked back since. As far as our vision, it's to meet or exceed the expectations of our customers in everything we do. And that's, I think, how we've been able to stay the course and grow the business and create a phenomenal reputation in the industry and across the country.
It sounds like you're a man of reason. You saw the numbers and you said, okay, this makes sense. Let's move forward. So talk to me about why you decided to become an entrepreneur. Was there a particular reason?
That's a great question. It was not always the plan. My expertise is marketing and sales. That's what I do. It's a gift. And I've always been what I've called an intrapreneur. All of my corporate background in life. I've always taken the responsibility of being a salesperson and a sales executive, and then, a national sales manager, and then a manager of people, as though that segment was my business, even though it wasn't. But I made it feel like it was my business so that I could fully ingratiate myself in everything I needed to do in order to be an exemplary employee, top performer, that type thing. And as we were going through the dot-com explosion back in the early 2000s, I realized that I was making a lot of these corporations hundreds of millions of dollars. So I turned to my wife and I said, believe in your husband. I could make us $1 million. I can grow $1 million business. And she supported me, and that's how it started. But it didn't start as me wanting to initially start off being an entrepreneur, but it was seeing the success I was having within the corporations that I was working for and translating that to my own success. Can I do this for me? Do I have the
Mm.
faith and the knowledge to do what I'm doing for these major corporations for me and my family? And it was an easy transition with a little help from God.
That's such an inspirational story, Maurice. Thank you for sharing with us how you were able to identify that skill set and then apply it as well. Now, let's talk about 2020. I think when speaking with any entrepreneur, it's crucial to address the pandemic and the effect that it's had on small businesses. So, to that end, what has been the effect of COVID-19 on your business?
Well, the impact has been devastating. Think about it. We move people. That's our job. We are an employee shuttle company. So all of the big buses that one may see on the highways and byways, we're one of those companies that move high tech people from point A to point B. That stopped completely. We also are in the meeting and events business, where that means people are coming into San Francisco, coming into the Bay Area, and doing meetings and events and conventions. That stopped immediately. Weddings, everything stopped. So when you take a look at who we are as a company and what we do, after March 13th, March 14th, when the state and the country was shut down, we lost all of our business. Every penny of our business went away. Um, we were truly lucky and blessed that we had one or two companies, names which I cannot reveal to you on this because of non-disclosure agreements, but we had two companies that was working with the United States federal government. So they still were in business. So we had a portion of our business working with them, but I'd say initially 90% of our business was gone. So you ask what happens. We had to lay off a lot of people. I mean, we have 114 employees. We had to lay off initially a good 80 to 90% of them. So it's devastating and it hurts. And to see families impacted the way they were impacted was devastating to me and my wife and to our business.
And since then, has that business level maintained? And what's the outlook for the business in the upcoming year?
So again, I referred to two companies that continued to do business during the pandemic because of their unique positioning with the government.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that business stayed in effect, albeit only 10% of what we were normally doing stayed into effect, and that has grown to 40%. So 40%.
That's a relief. Yeah,
Oh,
40%, but nearly not the 100, but
not
a little
not
bit of growth.
close, not
Yeah.
close. So that has come back, and that's good. And as I look into the tunnel of the future, I see good things. You know, everything for us, for the transportation end of the business, has to do with the vaccine. If people aren't comfortable traveling, if people aren't comfortable getting on airplanes, going to hotels, getting into our vehicles, they won't travel. They'll continue to do everything that they're doing now, which is remote. Um, but what I'm seeing from major corporations, not only here in the Bay Area, but across the country, I'm seeing opportunities where they're looking to open the doors back up in the March, April timeframe. And
Mhm.
that gives me hope that things will come back to some degree of normalcy um, somewhere in the mid 2021 timeframe.
So it seems that hope for you is in the science, right? It's in the able to distribute the vaccine widely, getting society back to a functional place that also works for your business, given that being in person is your bread and butter, it's your everyday.
Completely.
Mhm.
Without science for us, we're dead in the water. And what
Now,
that means is
yeah,
that we can still continue to exist, but that 60% of the employees, 55% of the employees will remain unemployed, will remain furloughed, will remain at home, um, looking for work. And that means that the people that we've had to cut, obviously, we've had to become lean and mean during these times in order for us to still say we have a business that we can look forward to continuing in 2021.
Now, I think there's something to be said too, though, about the essential businesses that will rely on having everyone return back to work, or the changes they may have made this year because of the pandemic. So, to that end, could you talk to us about pivots that Mosaic has made in the year of 2020 and how big companies can help businesses like your own?
You know, the 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 big help is advocacy. If we have enough people um, um, relying on science, which you mentioned, um, and getting to that comfort level that will allow them to get on an airplane again, that that's a huge need. Um, what we need from companies like a Nasdaq or like a DuPont or any of the big companies, I don't think they can help us much. Now, if you pivot, if you ask the question, how can the government help us? We need another round of stimulus. We need another round of money to help these small businesses like mine that did everything right, and we were hit by a Mack truck with this COVID-19 pandemic. Some of the things we've had to do, we're looking at and have become a package delivery company. We have 97 vehicles in our fleet. Those vehicles are sitting right now. Well, guess what? We can deliver packages. We have signed up for the Amazon program where they're looking for entrepreneurs to come in and to deliver packages, because guess what? Package delivery is through the roof
mhm.
because people can't go out and shop. So doing things like that will allow our business to thrive through these tough times, and that's exactly what we have had to do.
And Maurice, let me just say, I think it's very impressive, all of the changes and all the pivots you've been able to make. And hopefully we do go back to a place where we can be back to 100% operations sooner rather than later. But certainly there is a lot of hope in stories like yours and a lot of lessons to take away.
How, and again, I go back to my faith on this land. Um, God brought us to this, and He will take us through this. And as long as I can keep my faith going and do the things that I believe He's directing me to do in order to survive through this pandemic, I have nothing but hope and faith that we'll be okay, and other small businesses will get through this. May look a little differently, but they'll get through it and they'll be successful on the other end of 2021.
Maurice, again, thank you so much for sharing your story with us and for telling us about your work with Acción Opportunity Fund here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
NASDAQ followers, please stay tuned for more coverage coming to you right here from the NASDAQ channels. That was Maurice Brewster, CEO and founder of Mosaic Global Transportation. Until next time, we are signing off.